quite some time. Y'all, I'm just so grateful right now. And I had to share in this moment right now. Most of you probably do not know this, but I found out maybe about, I hope my sound is good. I have my headphones in and I've never used these before, so hopefully y'all can even hear what I'm but yeah, most of you do not know this, but I found out about 4 months ago that I had fibroids. And I'm really excited to say that last night, naturally, no medication, no surgery, I eliminated my fibroid. I'm like, how else do you share something like that but to just say it, right? Um, Let me backtrack a little bit. So in 2017, I found out through my GYN, through having pap smears, my annual pap smears done, that I had pre-cervical cancer cells. So pre-cancer cells on my cervix. I found that out in 2017. They told me I had two options. I could either get like the laser removal of those cells off of my cervix, which if you know anything about your cervix, and I did not at the time because I was very undereducated about my body, you need your cervix if you plan on having children. That is actually the thing that keeps the baby from coming out too early. So not knowing how delicate and important my cervix was, I chose one of the two options. So the first option, they said I could get a LEAP procedure done, which was to get the cells laser removed. And the second thing that they suggested was that I could get a procedure called cryotherapy, which is where they take like freezing cold temperatures, like a air blower that blows below freezing cold temperatures, and they place it on your cervix for a couple of seconds at a time, and it's supposed to freeze the pre-cancer cells or the abnormal cell growth off of your cervix. So I ended up choosing that option, the cryotherapy. I went and had it done, and I had a horrible reaction to it. I was throwing up so much that I could not physically walk out of the place, like to get myself home afterwards. I was like throwing up nonstop. I ended up throwing up for probably a solid 12 hours straight with like a couple of breaks in between. And then also, after effect of that was that my period had been abnormal ever since. Through the healing journey from that cryotherapy, which they tell you like there's supposed to be no side effects and nothing's supposed to happen, even they were saying me throwing up the way that I was, trying to leave the place that I got it done, which was Planned Parenthood, they were like, my reaction was abnormal to be throwing up like that. So I already had that abnormal reaction, but then I bled literally for 3 months straight after I had that cryotherapy. When I would go to my doctors and ask them, tell them that something is wrong, something is off. Why am I bleeding for this long? This is crazy. Something is not right. What they told me is that I just had too much stress in my life, and it was stress related that was causing the bleeding, and that I needed to practice some mindfulness exercises to bring my stress levels down to stop the bleeding. Bled for 3 months straight. It finally stopped, but then ever since then, so this was 2017, ever since then, my periods have been abnormal. I would get heavy bleeding. I would get like clumps, small clumps in my flow. I would get prolonged periods. I would get periods like very often. I would have abnormal bleeding in between periods. So like, for example, when my ovulation day would start, And you're supposed to, it's normal to see a slight pink tinge during ovulation time, but then it's supposed to go away. It's just supposed to be that and it's done. I would continue to spot from ovulation to whenever my next like full period would start. And that's been going on since 2017. So finally, I went to my GYN. I mean, I had been going regularly and constantly making them aware of these issues. I tried different GYNs, I tried different PCPs, and finally I was like, okay, I need to know what's going on in my body. This is not normal. I'm not so overly stressed that like my my body should be reacting this way. So in November of 2022, I went to a GYN, a new GYN, got a pap done. She said it was abnormal, and I was like, all right, I'm not about to go through all of this again, this cryotherapy, this LEAP procedure at that point. So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit because I skipped a gap. So I started taking natural herbs when I first found out about the precancer cells on my cervix. Not when I first found out about it. After I did the cryotherapy, the 3 months went by of like the nonstop bleeding. I was like, I'm gonna go towards natural herbs. I was like learning more about my body. I was learning more about pre-cervical cancer and all that. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go the natural route. So I found a girl online that was selling natural herbs. I went on her website. I looked up everything for abnormal cell growth, everything she had for regulating periods, for cancer. And I started implementing them daily into my eating routine. And I think at that point I was vegan. And I did that for about, I want to say 6 months. And I went back to my GYN and my pap was completely normal. I had no signs of precancer cells. It was completely normal. But then I went back in November of 2022, different GYN, and she's like, oh, your pap is abnormal. And I was like, I'm not going through this again. And I was like, you know what? I'm going raw vegan. I had did a 30 days of fruit only that February, just to try it out because I wanted to try to do all fruit. So I did fruit only that February, and I was like, if I can do fruit only for 33 days, raw vegan is gonna be a piece of cake. So November 2022, I went raw vegan. 4 months ago, so 4 months ago from now, today is August 22nd, I think, or 23rd, 22nd, I think. No, 23rd. So 4 months prior to this, I was at a different GYN and I was explaining to her what's going on. I was like, you know, I've been raw vegan at this point for 5 months. She was very concerned. And I had blood work done prior as well, just to make sure that her concern, my PCP's concern, and anybody else who may have been concerned about my health, that I was okay. So I had blood work done. Everything was stellar, might I say, stellar. The only thing that was low, because it was not sunny or out yet, and I was also working from home at the time, was they said my vitamin D was low. But when they went over my blood work, they were like, just get some sun and you'll be okay. So which is why I'm sitting in the sun right now, and I get a lot more sun more often now. But let me see, where was I at? So I went to that GYN 4 months ago, and I was like, this is what's going on. I need to know what's going on inside my body. Everybody keeps saying I'm stressed, I'm this, I'm that. That's not the case. Like, I've been doing some research. I'm like, maybe it's a polyp. Maybe it's like there's something in there, like something is going on. So I was also married at the time, and we were trying to conceive, and that wasn't happening. Like, I wasn't getting pregnant. So I was like, something's going on. So she suggested, you should get a sonogram so we can see if you think you have polyps or maybe you have like fibroids or something like that. We'll see. So I was like, okay. So literally the day she scheduled me for a sonogram, the sonogram, which was 4 months ago, I experienced abnormally heavy bleeding on my way home from that doctor's appointment. And to the point where like I was waddling from the car to my apartment building because it was abnormal. Like there was, and I'm gonna overshare because this is what it is. I was literally had blood running down my legs. Now I had pants on, but I had already wrapped my jacket around my waist, so whatever blood was on the back of my pants would not be seen. I was waddling into my house, and I got into the bathroom. There was so much blood. I have never bled that much in my life, and it was like fresh, like red, bright red blood. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Now, also, mind you, I knew something was a little bit different about this period because I don't normally get a lot of like breakouts. And this particular day, the day before this happened, I broke out from the top of my forehead all the way down the side of my nose and all the way under my chin. And I was like, what the heck is going on? So then that next day is when I had like the extremely heavy bleeding. So I got myself to the bathroom, sat on the toilet. Of course, there was lots of blood still running out. I used the bathroom, and there was a large clump, dark red clump that came out. And I was like, what the heck is going on? Now, mind you, at this point, I had just left my GYN appointment for them to refer me to the radiology place to where I was going to have to go to get this. Excuse me, my battery was getting low. To where I was going to have to go to get the sonogram done. So I didn't know what was going on in my body or my uterus or wherever at that time. And so I get home bleeding heavily. The huge chunk comes out. I'm like, what the heck was that? So because I follow a lot of herbalists, natural healers, on Instagram, there's a couple of ladies that sell tea blends that I follow that help with fibroids. And they were posting some testimonials with women who were saying that the tea worked, and they were showing pictures of eliminated fibroids. And I just happened to be scrolling through Instagram. It was either the same day or the next day after that happened to me. And I saw the picture of what that clump looked like that came out of those women who were saying that they eliminated fibroids, and that doctors confirmed that that is what a fibroid eliminated looks like. And I thought about what came out of my body and what I saw in the toilet that day, and I was like, I just eliminated a fibroid. Now, mind you, I had been at that point 5 months raw vegan. No cooked food, no processed food, no preservatives in my food, no dyes or additives or colorings or anything, just pure fruits, mostly fruits, and fresh vegetables. And also I was going to the farmer's market, so I was getting like farm fresh, locally produced produce, and that had been what I had been eating for 5 months. And one fibroid was eliminated from my body completely in just 5 months of eating that way. So that happened. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a fibroid. So that weekend, I went to get the sonogram done, which, mind you, was not a very pleasant experience, because when my GYN told me sonogram, I'm thinking like, okay, ultrasound, like when you're pregnant. No, I get there and they give me the paper that explains the procedure, and it's a transvaginal sonogram, which means they take a wand that has like a little ball at the end and a camera on it, and they stick it inside you, and they fish around in there and take pictures of all your ovaries and your uterus and your endometrium. Like, they take pictures of all that stuff. And so that was very invasive, very uncomfortable. The paper said, oh, you should only experience slight discomfort after the procedure similar to what you would experience when you get a pap smear. No. My whole digestive system was off. I was not digesting food properly. Like anytime I would eat anything, it just felt like everything in my body was like my stomach, my organs was just all out of whack because they was fishing around in there, moving stuff over, and it was so uncomfortable. I bled for 3 days straight after that. It was 3 to 7. I can't remember if it was 3 days or the whole rest of the week, but I bled more than they said that I should have been bleeding. And my digestion was off for a week after that. So when I went to get the results from that sonogram, at that point I had already eliminated one fibroid. So I was like, I bet you when I go, they're not going to find anything. Or if I had more than one fibroid, then I'll know I have what's going on in there. So when my GYN went over the results with me, she told me that I had one fibroid, a small fibroid, at the top of my uterus. And she said that I had multiple cysts on both of my ovaries. On the right ovary, I had one relatively would consider a large cyst. So she said in regards to the cysts, they'll dissolve on their own. In regards to the fibroid, I asked her, well, can I, will I still be able to get pregnant? Will I still be able to conceive normally, naturally, with no complications? She was like, yeah, it's very small, so you should be fine. And I also recommend that you get it cut out if you're planning on getting pregnant. And I'm like, can I get pregnant with it or can I not get pregnant with it? Like, why are you still suggesting that I get it cut out if it's not supposed to affect my reproductive process in any way? But that's what they do. They recommend that you get, if they don't know a solution or they don't want to recommend a natural one, they just cut it off or cut it out. And that is not how we were designed. Any dis-ease that we have, the Creator put something here that is natural for us to heal from any dis-ease that we have. And I believe that in my whole heart, which is why I also feel like my fibroids eliminated so quickly, because I was like, this body is clean. Your girl has not been put in no chemical, no process, no nothing. I've been eating what you have given me, what you have told me is here for my healing, which is here for my optimal health. And I believe that my body will be clean and toxin free if I eat the diet that the Creator in Genesis laid out for me to eat, right? So that's what I believed in my whole heart. And I was committed to that. I was like, however long that I need to be eating this way, I'm going to do it until I'm healed. Because one, I'm going to have a testimony. Two, my body is going to be healed, whole, and in optimal health. And I'm going to utilize what was given here for me to eat and heal the body. I was determined for that. Yes, it was frustrating every month to like my period. I'm like, oh, I'm still having abnormal bleeding. I'm still having heavy periods. It was so frustrating, but I kept reminding myself. I had lots of inspiration from people that I follow online on social media who have also healed from diabetes and different things from eating raw food. And a lot of them will always say, now you have to be patient with the natural healing process, because whatever age you are now, it took your body that many years to get at this level of toxicity or this level of dis-ease. So for you to expect it to heal in a day, in a month, in a year, when it took you 20, 30, 40 years for this level of toxicity to build, you have to give your body time. It's not like an overnight process. So that's what kind of like kept my mind at ease when I would like get frustrated about like, I'm still abnormal. Like, what is going on? But so what prompted me to do this video right now is because I'm sitting on my fire escape. I just finished eating a cantaloupe. I love cantaloupes. I just finished eating one. And I was on the verge of tears because I'm so grateful that last night, like I said at the very beginning of this video, the fibroid that my GYN told me that I had was eliminated from my body. I was coming home from work. I was on day 3 of my cycle, of my period, and similar to the first time, that the first fibroid that didn't show up on the sonogram because it eliminated prior to me having the sonogram done. What I experienced was day 3. I got off work. This was probably about 11:15 or so, a little after 11 last night. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm bleeding very heavily right now. Like, I feel like I'm bleeding very heavily right now. And I was in the car, so that was really good. I wasn't on the train, I was in the car. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh my gosh, a couple of minutes later, I was like, I feel like there's something sitting at the opening of my vagina. I don't know how else to say this, so I'm just gonna say it like this. There's something sitting there and it's large. So I'm like, oh my gosh. When I got out the car, I was like, I think this next fibroid is eliminating, because that's the same thing I felt the first time. And I was like, I get out the car, and the same way as the first time, there's so much blood that is now running down my leg. I'm like, oh my gosh, but I'm so happy at the same time, because I was like, I think this freaking fibroid is coming out. So I was like, okay. So I get to the bathroom, and first of all, I had my camera. I was like, I'm ready this time. I know what's going down. I cleared everything off the floor because I was like, I don't know how much blood is going to be. I took all my mats out the bathroom. I took everything off the floor in the bathroom, and I made sure I grabbed my phone because I was like, I want to have proof. I want to have proof to support this testimony that this doggone fibroid came out, and I want to other people who are dealing with this to be able to see. I want people to be able to see, and I want to see. So I had a pad on. So when I took the pad down, the fibroid sac fell right out into the pad, and it was probably about this big. If you close this circle that I'm making in my hand, it was that big. And it had 3 little sacs inside of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. It came out. I was like so excited, and I just kept being like, this is so crazy. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. So I'm snapping pictures of it. I'm taking pictures of it and I was so happy, and I was so excited, and I wasn't surprised though. Okay, I think this is a sign that I'm going to end the video here. I don't see the numbers counting down anymore. Okay, yes, they are. But yeah, I just, this snippet turned into 24 minutes. But I just wanted to share that in 5 months, raw vegan, mostly fruits, occasional salads and green juices, I eliminated 1 fibroid from my body. In 9 months, the second fibroid has been eliminated from my body. No medicines, no over-the-counter anything. I did have some supplements that I was taking in my water sometimes, or that I was putting in my smoothie, natural herbal things that I was using. And when I say natural, I mean stuff that you can pick off a tree or from the ground, not processed additive stuff. So I can share that, what herbal supplements that I was taking in another video. But our Creator has made the most magnificent creations, and I am one of them. You are one of them. This body is capable of healing itself when we put the right things in it. When we put other things that our Creator has made for us to heal in it. Things that come from the ground, that has the most purest form of water in it. things that are fed by the sun, just like we are with vitamin D. We are fed by the sun. We get nutritional value from the sun. Plants do as well. We get information from the sun. We get information from the ground. We get information from the elements. Though we are elemental beings, we come from the elements. Like we have to put elements back into our body, not processed stuff into our body, not foreign substances into our body. We have to put into our bodies what work with our bodies and not what work against our bodies, or not what it has been made to simulate things that are actually meant to be in our bodies, that are from the elements. No, just go straight to the source. A lot of these things, and I can, when it comes to fibroids, they say like, oh, this is common. Lots of women get these in their childbearing years. Yeah, but why? Why do lots of women get this during their childbearing years? Is it because there are things that we're all commonly putting into our body on a regular basis? Some that may have been prescribed to us to heal other ailments, and some that we just have chosen to put into our bodies. But yeah, they cause toxicity in the body. And all a fibroid is, all a tumor is our body's defense mechanism to trap toxins, to trap loose toxins in the body, to keep us safe. They form a sac. They collect the toxins and form a sac so that the toxins don't kill us. So yeah, it's a defense mechanism, but then where fibroids and tumors end up growing, and depending on how large they end up growing, that's when it becomes harmful for our health, because they attach to our reproductive organs, they attach to our brains, they attach places in our brains, or like wherever they end up being. But eliminate the toxins, we eliminate the processed foods, we eliminate the chemicals, and our bodies heal naturally. We are beautifully and wonderfully made, and healing is available to everybody. It doesn't matter what the healing is, mental, physical, emotional. Healing is available, and it was given to us freely by our Creator. We just have to be educated on how to properly heal, and being open to learning new information about healing, and really, really exercising our faith and belief that the Creator has given us everything to sustain life here naturally.